What's one thing that our listeners can start doing today?
Here's my thing. I would tell my anybody that really would come to me personally and ask is that I think the game changer in my life was to get the Jesus part of their life right. If that part's right, it is everybody needs a North Star. If you're sailing through life, that gives you directional things. Everybody needs a ballast to keep you from tipping over by your weaknesses of your flesh. And everybody needs a north wind, which is that inspirational push that comes from the God who created you. And I think when I finally realized that Jesus didn't simply die 2,000 years ago to get me out of hell, he died 2,000 years ago to get himself out of heaven inside of me. And when God gets inside of me, his character, his kindness, his joy, his peace, his patience, his love literally can become manifest within our flesh. I become a better person, boss, leader, worker when the batteries are in the flashlight, the light goes on. When God is in our life and allowed access and allowed unhindered access to our life, we are then going to live out what we were genuinely fully created to be. If we don't let that part happen, we're always going to be a little dysfunctional. If the Jesus thing isn't right, let me explain that quickly. If the Jesus thing isn't right, here's what will get me or you. Lust, greed, selfishness, those are the parts of our fallen nature. The me first stuff they'll creep in. I don't care how disciplined you think you are, they'll creep in. And I'm not strong enough to do that simply by willpower because it is an innate force of our fallen nature of independence that I want to be first. When Jesus has his right place in my life, I'm patient more than David White is patient. I'm kinder more than David White is kinder. I'm gentler more than David White is kinder and gentler. I have access to wisdom that can see the whole game board. And so I meet with lots of people, as you've asked. I mean, one of your questions you've written down, I go to these coffee shops, I meet with people. And I will always start with the spiritual side of people's life because I think that's usually the neglected side. And at first, when you say, I want you to know the Jesus part, they just think I want you to go to a piece of religious real estate and go to church.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. That could be part of it, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a relational connection to the God who hung the stars. I wished that I would have grasped that sooner because I could have saved myself a lot of challenges. I'm a better husband because of when Jesus is right in me. I have a better relationship with my kids because Jesus has control of me. And so I would say that if somebody out there in the blogosphere said, I want to get this right, if you're in La Crosse, I go to coffee with anybody. I had several people. In fact, I had a guy last week. He said 3 people told me I need to talk to you. I've never met him before. And he owns a big deal in La Crosse. And I said, oh, good. And don't know why, but it ends up turning to a faith thing, which I say with most of the men that I meet, they've never been to a place where they can safely talk about something where they don't feel weird or they would like to know, but they don't really know who to ask, and they don't want to ever admit we're struggling in that area. And I just think that, to me, is my biggest passion, is to get people to know that a Christ relationship is more than a Sunday church experience. And it does translate into making you the person that God created you to be. And without the indwelling of this God that created you to control you, direct you, guide you, you lose your GPS system. And so for me, get the Jesus part right. And if you get that right, it's going to be a game changer in how you live, who you are, how you lead.